All right, let's dive into something a little bit different today.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at a blog post from lestallion.com, and it's called 50 Divorce Journal Prompts. Now, I know you might be thinking divorce and journaling, kind of heavy stuff, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, this piece by Clara Penrose, was published on November 13th, really caught my eye. It's not about, the legal battles or dividing assets or anything like that. It's really about using these prompts to understand your own experience, to heal and move forward.
It's fascinating how Penrose frames journaling as a tool.
Yeah.
We often think of divorce as, this purely legal and financial process. But there's this whole internal landscape that can kind of get overlooked. And these prompts really offer a structured way to navigate that emotional terrain.
It's like she's saying, hey, this is tough, but you've got the power to process it, learn from it, and ultimately come out stronger on the other side.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming agency during a time when a lot of people feel like they've lost control. And it's not just about, venting feelings, although that's important too, but it's about actively engaging with your thoughts and emotions to gain clarity and move forward intentionally.
I love that. So the blog post breaks down these prompts into 5 categories, and each one tackles a different aspect of the divorce experience. We've got reflecting on the past relationship, processing emotions and feelings, rebuilding self-identity, setting boundaries and finding strength, and looking forward and building hope. It's like a roadmap for personal growth through a really challenging transition.
Yeah, and what's striking is that this roadmap isn't linear. You might find yourself jumping between categories, revisiting certain prompts as you evolve. It's not about checking boxes, it's about using these prompts as starting points for deeper self-exploration.
Right, it's your own personal journey. So let's jump into the first category. Reflecting on the past relationship. I was particularly struck by this prompt. Think back to a time when you felt happiest in your past relationship. What made that moment special, and what did you appreciate about it?
That one really stood out to me as well. It's so easy to get caught up in the negativity surrounding a divorce, to focus on what went wrong. But this prompt encourages you to revisit those positive memories, to acknowledge that there were good times, even if the relationship ultimately didn't work out.
It's like acknowledging the complexity of the situation, right? Not erasing the bad, but remembering that relationships, even those that end, are made up of layers of experiences.
Exactly. And by reflecting on those happy moments, you can gain a clearer understanding of what brought you joy, what you valued in the relationship, and perhaps even what you might seek in future connections.
Almost like taking stock of what worked, so you can apply those insights moving forward. Now, this next prompt takes a bit of a different angle. Reflect on a challenge you faced together. How did you handle it? And what did you learn about yourself from that experience?
This one's all about growth through adversity. Every relationship faces challenges, and how you navigate those challenges reveals a lot about your strengths, your weaknesses, and your communication patterns.
It's almost like a post-mortem on a specific conflict,
Yeah.
but with the goal of learning from it, right? Not to place blame, but to understand your own role and how you might approach similar situations differently in the future.
Precisely. It's about recognizing patterns in your behavior, identifying areas where you might need to develop, better coping mechanisms or communication skills, turning a past challenge into an opportunity for personal growth.
Okay, this next prompt really got me thinking. Reflect on a shared dream or goal you once had together. How does it feel to look back on that now?
That's a powerful one. It taps into the sense of loss and disillusionment that can often accompany divorce, especially when those shared dreams are shattered. But it also invites you to reclaim those dreams for yourself.
It's like, okay, that was our dream, but what about my dreams? Where do I go from here? It can be a catalyst for reevaluating your own aspirations and setting new goals that are aligned with your individual path.
Exactly. Recognizing that even though the relationship has ended, your own hopes and aspirations remain. And sometimes letting go of a shared dream can create space for even more fulfilling ones to emerge.
Now, before we move on to the next category, which is all about processing emotions, I'm curious, have any of these prompts sparked a particular thought or memory for you?
Yeah, that prompt about shared dreams really makes me think about how relationships can sometimes become like these containers for our aspirations. And then when those relationships end, we kind of have this opportunity to re-examine what we truly want for ourselves. It can be a time of profound rediscovery.
It's like those dreams were on hold, and now it's time to hit play again. But this time, with a deeper understanding of who you are and what you truly desire. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and dive into the next category. Processing emotions and feelings. Divorce, it's a roller coaster of emotions. And this section really encourages you to lean into that experience, to acknowledge and explore the full spectrum of what you're feeling.
It's about developing what psychologists call emotional literacy, that ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions. And journaling can be such a powerful tool for cultivating that literacy. It provides a safe space to process those like raw, unfiltered feelings without judgment.
One prompt that I thought was particularly insightful was, describe a time recently when you felt overwhelmed. What triggered this feeling, and how did you cope with it?
Overwhelm. That's such a common experience during divorce. You're dealing with so many changes, so many decisions, and often a lot of uncertainty. This prompt encourages you to identify those specific triggers, to become more aware of what sends you into that overwhelmed state.
It's like creating a personalized early warning system,
Yeah.
right? If you know what your triggers are, you can start to develop strategies for managing them more effectively.
Exactly. And that's where those coping mechanisms come in. The prompt encourages you to reflect on how you dealt with that feeling of overwhelm, whether it was through, healthy strategies like exercise or talking to a friend, or perhaps through less helpful habits.
Becoming more conscious of those patterns so you can start to replace unhealthy coping mechanisms with more constructive ones.
Right. And it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one person might not work for another. The key is to find what helps you regulate your emotions and navigate those challenging moments.
Okay, let's move on to a prompt that focuses on a different emotion. Think about a time when you felt at peace. What brought you calm, and how can you find more moments like this?
Ugh, I love this one. It's so easy to get swept up in the chaos of divorce that you forget to pause and appreciate those moments of peace. This prompt reminds you to savor those experiences, to identify what brings you a sense of calm and tranquility.
Almost like creating a mental toolbox of self-soothing techniques, right?
Mhm.
So when you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, you can pull out one of those tools and intentionally shift your emotional state.
Exactly. It's about empowering yourself to create more of those peaceful moments in your life, even amidst the challenges of divorce. Now, the next category, rebuilding self-identity. That really speaks to the transformative potential of this experience.
It's like you're shedding a skin, right? Divorce can shake your foundation, make you question who you are. Outside of the context of that relationship, these prompts encourage you to explore that new terrain, to rediscover your passions and values, and ultimately to rebuild a sense of self that feels authentic and empowered.
And it's not just about going back to who you were before the relationship. It's about recognizing how you've grown, how the experience has shaped you, and integrating those lessons into a new, evolved sense of self.
One prompt that stood out to me in this section is, think about a quality in yourself that you're rediscovering. How does reconnecting with this trait make you feel?
I love that one. It's about recognizing those strengths that might have been, dormant or overshadowed during the relationship. Maybe you rediscover your creativity, your sense of humor, your resilience, whatever it is, it's about celebrating those qualities and allowing them to flourish.
Like those qualities were always there, but now they have space to breathe, to grow, to become even more vibrant.
Right.
Okay, here's another prompt that really struck a chord. Describe a hobby or interest that brings you joy. How does this activity help you reconnect with who you are?
This one is all about tapping into those sources of joy and fulfillment that are independent of your relationship status. It might be something you used to enjoy but haven't made time for lately, or it might be something entirely new that you're exploring for the first time.
It's about remembering that you are a multifaceted individual with passions and interests that extend beyond the confines of a romantic relationship.
All right. And by engaging in those activities that bring you joy, you not only nourish your soul, but also reconnect with your authentic self.
Now, before we move on to the next category,
Yeah.
I'm curious, what are some of the things that help you reconnect with your authentic self? What brings you joy and helps you feel grounded?
Oh, for me, it's spending time in nature. Hiking, gardening, just being surrounded by trees and fresh air. It helps me clear my head and reconnect with what's important. It's a reminder that there's this whole world outside of our own personal dramas. A world full of beauty and wonder.
I love that. It's like nature has this incredible power to ground us, to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about reflecting on the past, processing emotions, and rebuilding your identity. Let's move on to the fourth category, setting boundaries and finding strength. This section feels particularly empowering, like it's about reclaiming your autonomy after a period of feeling somewhat powerless.
Absolutely. Setting boundaries is so crucial in any relationship. But it takes on a new level of importance after a divorce. It's about learning to prioritize your own needs and well-being, to say no to things that drain your energy, or don't align with your values.
Yeah, it's like drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is what I'm willing to tolerate, and this is where I draw the line. It's about honoring yourself and your own needs.
Exactly. And it's not just about setting boundaries with others, it's also about setting boundaries with yourself. Recognizing those unhealthy patterns or behaviors that might be holding you back and making a conscious effort to break free from them.
One prompt that I thought was particularly powerful in this section is, think about a boundary you'd like to set. Why is it important, and how will it support your well-being?
That's a great one. It encourages you to really think about what matters to you, what you need to feel safe and respected in your interactions with others. And it's not just about saying no, it's also about communicating your needs clearly and assertively.
Learning to advocate for yourself, right?
Yeah.
To express your needs and expectations in a way that feels both honest and respectful.
Right. And it takes practice. But the more you do it, the more confident you become in asserting your boundaries.
Okay, here's another prompt that I think speaks to the theme of finding strength. Write about a person who supports your healing journey. How does their support help you feel stronger?
That one is a beautiful reminder that we don't have to go through this alone. It's about acknowledging those people in our lives who offer a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, or a word of encouragement when we need it most.
Recognizing the power of human connection, right? How those supportive relationships can provide a sense of belonging and strength during a time when you might feel isolated or lost. Okay, let's move on to the final category, looking forward and building hope. This section feels particularly uplifting, like it's about shifting your focus from the past to the possibilities that lie ahead.
It's about embracing the future, even if it looks different than what you might have envisioned before. It's about recognizing that you have the power to create a new chapter in your life, a chapter that is filled with joy, purpose, and meaning.
One prompt that really stood out to me in this section is, reflect on a dream or goal you have for your future. What excites you about this, and how can you begin working toward it?
That's a great one for sparking a sense of hope and motivation. It encourages you to, dream big, to envision a future that feels aligned with your values and aspirations. And it's not just about dreaming, it's about taking action, about breaking down those big goals into smaller, manageable steps that you can start taking today.
Creating a roadmap for your future, right? A path that feels both exciting and attainable. Okay, here's another prompt that I think captures the essence of this category. Describe a future moment when you see yourself feeling truly happy. What does this moment look like, and who are you with?
I love that one. It's all about visualization, creating a vivid mental picture of a future filled with happiness and fulfillment, planting those seeds of joy in your mind and allowing them to take root.
It's about remembering that happiness is a choice. And even though divorce can be a difficult experience, it doesn't have to define your future. You have the power to create a life that feels both meaningful and joyful.
Absolutely. And these prompts, while simple on the surface, can be incredibly powerful tools for guiding you on that journey of healing and rediscovery. They provide a framework for exploring your emotions, setting boundaries, and ultimately creating a future that feels aligned with your authentic self.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of divorce journal prompts, I hope you've gained some valuable insights and perhaps even a renewed sense of hope. Remember, this is just a starting point. The real work happens when you put pen to paper and allow yourself to explore your own unique journey.
And one final thought to leave you with. Think about what resilience means to you. How do you define it? And what steps can you take, big or small, to cultivate more resilience in your own life? Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.